busted.
Hello out there, and thanks for joining us on Political Platform. It's a beautiful Monday in Nigeria. All over, it's floodings and flood. From Lagos to Suleja near Abuja here, that is at the border between Abuja and Niger State. You can see people climbing onto the trees. But in downtown Lagos, talking about the Victoria Island and the Ikoyis, and then down to the new areas of interest, talking about the Lekki Axis, is one that you need to find out what indeed happened. The information reaching us is that some of the canals got blocked and the drainages got blocked, and nothing was done. Of course, we have some advice from our listeners this morning on why government's efforts at clearing houses built near drainages must be cleared off so that we have safety in our environment. We're talking about that. On the political turf, the Independent National Electoral Commission has confirmed to us this morning that they don't have any court orders stopping them from continuing with the recall of the Kogi West senatorial district recall of their Senator Dino Melaye. He said that the court order, the court pronouncement was not an order on them to stop the process, and so they are continuing. And the South and the Southeast governors met in Enugu also during the weekend, and they preached unity on how Nigeria can indeed continue with the unity while trying to solve all the problems. But the Southern leaders gave a timeline. First, for the government, by December, the conference reports of the 2014 should begin implementation, and that the Oshibajo administration standing in for the Muhammadu Buhari, talking about the APC administration, must assure Nigerians, particularly those living in the north, that they are protected against the backdrop of the October 1 deadline, that if they don't go, particularly the Igbos, they will be in trouble. The southern leaders say unless the government come up definitely with plans and assurances, then the tension may continue to rise as we build up to the date set. We'll be talking about all the other political issues and development. Remember, there's the National Assembly executive bickering that is not stopped yet. We'll talk about it too. But we want to thank you first for tuning in, and for those who have been able to download our app, the Repa app from the Google Play. We thank you so much. So that makes it possible for you to listen to us anywhere with your handset. On your handset, you can download, and on the internet, you can really see. You can listen to us. But the big one is our YouTube channel that is Ait Political Platform on our YouTube channel, where you can now watch the program anywhere you are in the world. We also give you video. And for those who are in Abuja who watch and listen to AIT, it's free for you at 6 p.m. So let's keep the discourse going. Let's talk about, celebrate our democracy. Let's talk about the issues, how we can deepen the roots of our young democracy, and most importantly, how to indeed get everybody involved and get all of us to walk the same path of development without fear of favor. Okiri Agbonsuremi is my name. I have Adebayo Boduri joining me on the program this morning. Adebayo, welcome to the program, and how has it been?
Well, thank you, Okiri. I think my worry over the weekend was this spate of flood across the country. I think it's worrisome. Yeah,
I think it's you just see the photograph of our brothers and sisters on top of the tree in Suleja. It is not just those who think who saw the one in Lagos thought it was Lagos. Everywhere it does appear that something.
You don't need to look for canoe or hook now. Some people are catching life in their city room, and I think it's a worrisome trend that I think government need to wake up and think of what they do. This thing, there were predictions, and it just look as if we just ignore it, as if it don't matter.
And Ijoma Osamo is joining us on the platform this morning. Ijoma, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Okiria. I think since the beginning of this year, the National Meteorological Agency actually came up with a report saying that the 2017 rains will cause so much flooding into areas that are close to canals, close to rivers. And they mentioned Niger State, they mentioned Delta, they mentioned Bayelsa, Lagos and River State. But what I am not happy about is that after this whole crisis, the government failed to put things in order, failed to provide palliatives to be sure that we don't face what we faced in 2012. 2012, I think, is something smaller than what we face this year if care is not taken.
And I also have Uju Eje on the platform. Uju, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ohiria. I don't know why governments take things for granted, because even apart from that, you look at the Lekki area, you talk about reclaimed land reclaimed from the sea. In advanced countries, when land is reclaimed, they use boulders, they use stones, heavy materials that can keep the sea at bay. But I don't see that in that part of the country.
I don't even think it was the sea that came on now. It was the floodings from the rain that didn't find a way out.
Yes, that didn't find a way out. But also, if you look at it, it merges with the sea. Yeah. If you remember what used to happen at Babbage, what happens is the rain water merges with the sea and floods everywhere, because there is really no strong barrier to restrain the sea from also flowing out. Don't forget that it also rains on the sea when it rains.
And Mustafa Mohammed, if you take a look at our collective indiscipline, all the nylon bags, the cellophanes, the so-called pure water sachet that we have consumed.
Dirty water sachet.
Yeah, we don't call it pure water. Yeah. Okay, they call it pure water. It's dirty water sachet, because some of those water are actually just taken from the roadside and they put the thing there,
package it in the backyard.
Package it, and they just tell you all those sachets used, the nylon bag that they used to, all those ones, I'm told by scientists that it takes up to 100 years for them to decay. So who is managing it?
Here I cover the road, and what you see on the highway, especially in traffic, is well-dressed people going to work, looking civilized and corporate. But they eat biscuit, they drink water, they wind down the glass and throw it. Yes, even this morning I saw some along the Abuja KP highway, especially without any apology, especially the ladies, whether it's sugarcane, granite or donuts they eat inside, they throw it out. And let me tell you something. The Federal Ministry of Works, especially...
Our men are equally pretty anyway.
Yeah, and along the Abuja Kefi highway, there are two spots that have become so terrible for motoring. Whenever it rains, people can visit. Yeah, Sharp Corner and somewhere around Masaka, the water log is there. We don't know what the controller in Nasarawa State is doing. I mean, the controller of Federal Ministry. Yeah. The two spots combined together are less than 1 kilometer. And the Federal Ministry of Work is aware. The FEMA has not deployed its people there. And Nigerians are suffering. You really need to go there and see when it's raining.
Dr. Amechi and Akpes also join us on the program this morning. Amechi, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Hira. Most of our problems are man-made. The Chief of Defense Staff just told us that the nation is currently facing 14 security threats. Some other nations, most of other nations may not survive 3, but we have 14. Kidnapping, courtesan, insurgency, agitation, insurrection, name them. If you list them, he says up to 14. Now the elements are coming in, not because something extraordinary is happening, but because we have failed to take preemptive measures. Now, you can imagine the elements, the natural disasters, yes, joining and combining with the 14 security threats. God save Nigeria.
And Hedu Anagu is joining us, still on break from Delta. Is here with us in the studios.
Thank you very much, Ohira. For me, I'm not actually worried that the floods are here and that it's ravaging parts of the country. I'm worried about those who are worried that it's happening. The reason is that Mama Nkechi cannot wake up in the morning, decide to begin to sleep and begin to pray, and 12 o'clock Nkechi is hungry. You expect Nkechi to be hungry because the mother did not cook. We build cities without planning them. And when you establish cities and you don't plan them, be rest assured that one day the flood will come. And so until we're able to begin to construct and build cities where you make provision for water channels because the water must come, make provision for where people are to build their houses, make provision for where people are going to farm. When you don't do that, the flood will come. And so you don't need to be worried. It is a question of not being prepared. And I can also assure you that until we begin to get prepared, look at what Erufai did in Abuja. When Erufai came to Abuja, he insisted that we must respect the master plan. A number of persons made a lot of noise. It was not very, very convenient for a number of persons, but whether you like it or not, to a very, very large extent, he saved us a lot of embarrassment in the Federal Capital Territory. For those areas where he did not touch, you of course know what's happening today. So until we wake up and plan, in Kichu will be hungry in the afternoon because the mother, I can tell you, most churches are already praying now. They will be praying, say pray so that the flood will not come. If you like, pray from here to Jericho. The flood is not coming from Satan. It's God who created the water. You need to do your own plan. It's this idea of people, churches deceiving everybody. I'm a Christian too. If you don't walk, that prayer will not yield any result because God has given us the power to step upon insects, scorpions, and the like, including the flood. Ability to step on the flood by planning. If you don't plan and you go and do one night vigil and go and begin to pray, the flood will come and wipe you away, and you and maybe the pastor will tell you that you did not pray enough or you did not sleep enough.
All right,
so please let us plan.
Faith without works.
Yeah, let's take a look at our mailbox, political platform at yahoo.com. Remember that we have a soundbite from the governor of Bayelsa State, Seriake Dixon, on the program today. We'll be hearing from him on restructuring. Let's see who is talking to us this morning.
Thanks, Ohira. Welcome to the mail segment. I'm Amaka Okoro.
I'm Usaiti. Welcome.
We'll begin with a reaction on the current flood ravaging parts of Nigeria, and it's coming from Samson Ujikalayo from Ije in Abuja. The mail reads, Nigeria is a difficult terrain to govern. Any government that chooses to destroy houses built on drainage path would elicit massive resistance from the people. Opposition parties will remember their Marxism and the plight of the oppressed by then. Now that flood is destroying properties, I'm waiting for the same implacable gangs to come up with another theory of government, neglecting to effect environmental laws. God save my country.
More reactions. Samson in Abuja says, when the platform wants to interview a Southeast stakeholder on the issue of restructuring, they get a progressive person of about 55 years old. When it's the turn of the Southwest, Yinka Odumakin came on board. All spoke well, but the platform went for Elder Yakasai, almost 90 years old, as a northern representative. Unfortunately, his view was a ridicule of the whole North. According to Elder Yakasai, what the North is opposed to in the agitation for restructuring is the reduction of number of seats of northern members in the National Assembly. That cannot be true. Please, next time, invite Northwestern, Northeastern, and North Central / our middle belters who are progressive and of average age to articulate Northern region's position. The North is not afraid of true federalism. God bless Nigeria.
And Mohammed Lawal from London writes on the Almajiri issue. The mail reads, the only way to stop the Almajiri issue is not by taking them off the street only. Because if you take them off the street without any law in place to stop it, the trend will continue. They know that government will take their responsibilities for them. So it is important for every parent in the North to know that they have to take the responsibility of any child they give birth to. Unfortunately, all the Northern leaders know the solution, but they are afraid of doing the right thing because of their political selfish interest. So please, stop campaigning always for the government or individuals to take them off the street. Rather, always campaign that Northern leaders should put a law to stop it. God bless you.
That's it on the mail segment for today. Keep sending your mails to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Busted. They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for remaining with us on the platform. I must correct AIT Political Platform. I don't know why I always say parliamentary, because maybe because we used to run AIT parliamentary. But it's AIT Political Platform. Those who want to log on to the YouTube channel is AIT Political Platform. You can watch even all the previous editions of the program as well as this program. Now, let's begin this the serious and talk section of the program with Seriake Dixon. Seriake Dixon is the governor of Bayelsa State. Of course, we'll be bringing a lot of people to talk on the issues that I saw. How do we get together? How do we talk about our resources? Some people say it angrily. Some people say it is ours. And we have tried. Somebody said we should talk to only middle-aged persons from the north. Even the elders have a voice. And Tanko Yakase, you cannot say he's not having a voice. If we don't bring him, some people say bring him, because they are the ones that are talking. But I can assure you that whether from the Middle Belt, from the Midwest, from the South, North, West, Northeast, we are getting everybody to be part of the discussion, because we actually indeed want to assist to douse the tension and get everybody to talk and say something. And if you don't say something, then nobody knows what's on your mind. And so we have the governor of Bayelsa State on the program this morning. Let's hear his thoughts on the restructuring.
I'm aware that because the word restructuring, or the term restructuring, has been so overused and overflogged over the years, you know. It's not just IPOB or MASOB that's raising issues of restructuring. It came all the way back from the NADOCO days to the Patriots, to my former party, the Alliance for Democracy, you know, and now to the ACN, AC, and so on. They kept saying that. And so many leaders from so many regions of our country, from my region, the South-South, a lot of other regions have been saying it, the need for restructuring. And maybe because of the overuse or the repeated use of this word and associated with some of the developments in some parts of the country, I think there's some apprehension as to what this concept of restructuring really and truly means. Another word for restructuring, if you like, is reorganization. Let us reorganize and readjust, you know, our structures and our systems within the context of a united Nigeria. So let's be very clear about this. This conversation about restructuring is not to the detriment of a united Nigeria. As a matter of fact, those who are making a case for restructuring are actually believers in the Nigerian project. They want to make it more stable. They want Nigeria to be more balanced. They want Nigeria to be stable. They want Nigeria to be equitable. They want Nigeria to survive the test of time and not go down like Yugoslavia or Soviet Union or recently South Sudan. Look at Sudan. So these things are real. These things are real. And from my understanding, those who are making a case for restructuring are simply saying, gentlemen, wait a bit. Hold on for a while. We are all members of the Nigerian nation, no doubt. But are there things we can adjust? Are there things we can do differently? And that's why I support it. The ongoing call for reorganization, for me, is made in good faith. All that it requires is for leadership to rise to the occasion, not to indulge in some kind of blame game or spreading hatred and preaching disunity or calling out war drums or calling out war dogs. We don't need all of that. Because as the acting president rightly said, these things, when violence starts or and there's any situation of war, you don't know how it ends. And we have our own history as to what happened in the 60s, the unfortunate incidents of the 60s, and the sacrifices that were made. And that's why I want to commend also the steps taken by Igbo leaders, the Southeastern leaders, who so far now have dissociated themselves from some of those extreme utterances and views and moves. But what I want to urge them, and I've been saying that in my personal conversations with a number of them, is they need to go a step further and engage their younger, those young men who are on the other side of the divide, to let them understand that in the end, we should all work together and then see how we can adjust things.
Of course, Sarah K. Dixon, the governor of Bayelsa State, his talk, his postulations of restructuring goes beyond just the definition he has given, reorganizing the country, whatever you want to call it. It also went further. Fortunately, we don't have all the time to give you all the excerpts today. Probably in our subsequent editions we'll give you. He talked about the need to also do devolution of powers and resource control, and that whatever is happening, however you look at it, you cannot go to a particular area and see poverty, whereas all the wealth of the nation is taken from it. And he was talking about the oil, which he said rightly belongs to the people who live in those areas. And within the context of Nigerian unity, one Nigeria indivisible, he says we can actually reorganize ourselves and make everybody happy.
Ohira, for me, the current discussion on this restructuring is still flowing from a very, very primordial sentiment, and the views for me are quite pedestrian. Let us look beyond the issue of dividing and all that. What I mean dividing and not tearing the country apart. Let us look at even those who are saddled with responsibility with the giving power at the moment. What are they doing with it? Even when you restructure, for instance, in the concept in which people are talking about, you will discover that individuals within a given entity, like for instance, you create a state and they say we are homogeneous like Bayelsa. You will discover that even when you get to Bayelsa, the man from Nembe will begin to tell you that the man from from Obia, that is cheating him. Let us begin to define the powers of individuals who are even within this system, where a president or a state governor cannot just wake up and decide what he's going to do with our commonwealth and nobody questions him. Let us begin to look at where people become productive. When we also do certain things, people are saddled with certain responsibilities. What do they do with it such that it benefits everybody? In other countries, like if you go to places like US, California is developing not because of restructuring, but because they have been able to properly define the rules within the laws that exist in those countries, and everybody know their limits. Until we're able to properly define our limits, those who are using restructuring now are also looking at how they themselves as individuals, quote and unquote, the oppressors in the north, oppressors in the south, oppressors everywhere. And if we follow the way they are talking about, they will only still benefit as oppressors.
They just democratize the oppression.
They democratize the oppression. That's all.
I think what you are talking about is actually institutions, the growth of institutions. That our institutions are so weak that they cannot hold the government or the people who occupy those seats accountable. Now, individuals are bigger than the office that they occupy. When the governor gets to an office, he allocates. He decides what he wants to do. Ditto for the president. The president gets to an office, he becomes like a god.
The governor becomes the state, the president becomes the country.
And that is why, because those that are supposed to serve as checks or call to question or hold public officials accountable are not doing so. It's very common in the states where the governor is a teen god, he does whatever he likes. But part of the solution, I believe, is that if resource control is introduced, the people will begin to see those funds as their own.
Yes.
They are alienated from those funds. They feel it's a federal fund, the one they collect from Abuja. But when you know it's part of your patrimony, that you have a stake directly to these resources, it's only then you begin to question them. For instance, if you're taxed heavily, you know that it's your contribution that is helping to build roads. If an inferior road is built, you begin to indeed hold the government accountable. The good news is that this restructuring is gaining currency. It has now graduated from if to how. There are few dissenting voices, but gradually over time, it's going to wane. Now, the next phase, just like the southern leaders are asking, is by December 2017, the acting president should come out with specific modalities on implementation. That is the stage we are in now.
We actually have to look at our problems in the face, like Edu has said. Do we need 36 governors? Do we need 774 local governments? Do we need a very strong center, and then you have the weak periphery?
And to further, do we need 360 in the House of Representatives?
House of Representatives, do we need 109 senators? You go and jubilate and go to rally.
And how many federal agencies do we have?
For the records, we have more senators in Nigeria than you have in US, even when their population is much more, and the country is much.
In the name of salaries and allowances, these people can take up to 30-40% of the
70%.
70%. And then we complain of bad roads, bad schools, health institutions, women and children are dying. We have to, come up with a system whereby we don't need to have governors. Why can't we have mayors all over the 774 local government? Then we should look at the natural resources. Every community should produce something like China. Even in Europe, they do that. EU is a manufacturing-based community. And each one comes out with something that will add something for it. You create jobs. But what we do is he from my place? Do we go to the same church and mosque with him? Does he belong to my sect? Is he marrying from my place? These are some of the biggest sentiments that continue to destroy this country.
I think for me, I queue behind Balarabe Musa on this issue. Yesterday he came out and he was bold that we should not look at this issue as something that will break us up or something that will cause problem for the country. He said over 100 years after amalgamation, that we should look at the union and that we should look at areas where we have made progress, we should strengthen it. And those areas that are causing friction, we should look at a way of addressing it. I think that is the totality of the way we can look at this issue. But to have a feeling that we can sweep it under the carpet and it will not be addressed, it's like postponing the evil day.
I strongly believe that there is the need for restructuring. Restructuring, political restructuring, and as well as our institutions. Like Mustafa mentioned, the legislature, for instance, if you look at it, in France, President Macron is thinking of pruning down the parliament. Senegal recently did away with the upper legislature. And I think that we can borrow some leaf from that, because he wanted to save money to, put into other areas of governance. And it is something that Nigeria can borrow from. We don't have to continue to waste money the way we are doing. And then again, you talked about a state like California in the US. Yes, California could do that because it has the powers, it has its own laws, and it has its own economic framework. It is not attached to the center, and that is what we need to look at here.
Okay, I think we need to beg to restate the resources, something that brings money to the center.
One product.
One product. Let the states be known. Just like we used to have the oil and steel at Kogi and some
geography
other
will even tell you that. We know where they are located.
This is why I say the power at the center is too much. Devolve power down to the people at the grassroots. Those are the people that are the owners of democracy. What we have today is feeding bottle democracy.
All right, that's what Ike Kweremadu said.
But I can tell you, if this oil dries up today, this restructure doesn't even need to debate it. They will begin to restructure by force.
All right,
it's the laziness brought by the oil money that is causing the whole trouble.
We have to wrap it up here, and we must emphasize that political platform is originally, at least it's a program of Ray Power FM. Now we have enlarged and gone out to Ait Abuja, and you can watch us everywhere on our YouTube channel, Ait Political Platform, and you can also listen. Those who miss the small box, the radio set or in the handset, your radio, you can actually download the app, the Ray Power app from the Google Play Store, and you can listen to Ray Power FM, both political platform and all the other programs on Ray Power as the live stream all their content anywhere you are 24 hours a day. My name is Okiri Agonsuremi. Let's do it again when we come back on Tuesday. And remember to send us a note through politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Bust it.